Number 10. Spain. This may come as a surprise to some, but Spain has been teetering on the verge of collapse since 2008. Spain is currently embroiled in an economic crisis. Spain's national debt to GDP ratio is at a dangerous 94%, and meanwhile, 24% of Spanish citizens were unemployed in January 2015. However, Spain's economy is only half of the country's worries. Two regions of Spain could very easily break free of the country within the next 20 years. In western Spain, a region called Catalonia has a thriving independence movement with strong popular support. The people of Catalonia have few cultural ties to the rest of Spain, and to prove their desire for independence, in 2013, they formed a 300-mile human chain around the country to cut it off from the rest of Spain. At the same time, many in the Basque region of northern Spain long for independence. The people of Basque speak, well, Basque, not Spanish, and several violent terrorist groups are currently fighting for independence. Number 9. North Korea. It's no secret that technological advancement is leaving North Korea far behind the rest of the world. Despite North Korea's policy of total self-reliance, North Korea simply does not have enough resources within its borders to survive the 21st century. At some point, North Korea will need to leave behind its isolation and expand trade and cooperative ties with other countries. When North Korea finally does open up its borders to the rest of the world, it's probable that the Kim regime won't be able to survive. There is a chance that Kim Jong-un will attempt Chinese-style reforms in an attempt to copy China, but that may only speed up North Korea's demise. North Korea's government holds on to power very tightly, and one mistake or internal power struggle could end Kim Jong-un's grip on power. Number 8. Belgium. Belgium's citizens are deeply divided among ethnic lines. In fact, the two halves of Belgium, Flanders and Wallonia, have little in common with each other. In the south of Belgium lies Wallonia, a nearly autonomous region dominated by French-speaking people. Many French speakers want either an independent Wallonia or for a union with France. The north of Belgium is known as Flanders, and the people of the region are ethnically Flemish and want an independent Flanders. In the next 20 years, Belgium may fracture, creating two new countries in Europe, Flanders and Wallonia. Number 7. China. Perhaps the most surprising entry on the list is China. Despite having the largest military in the world and one of the most powerful economies, China has deep-seated problems they must address in order to survive the 21st century. Even though the Chinese Communist Party harshly cracks down on anyone who opposes them, China is on a collision course with disaster. Many of China's problems stem from the outright destruction of the country's environment. Half of China's rivers and reservoirs are polluted beyond what's considered safe for any form of human consumption. Also, according to the Chinese government, by 2030, China will have used all of its drinkable water. And according to the World Bank, every year 250,000 Chinese people die prematurely because of pollution. The Chinese government tried to block the release of this report, fearing that it would cause massive social unrest. Disaster may just be around the corner for China. Number 6. Iraq. The rise of the Islamic State has brought international attention to the deeply rooted divisions in Iraq. Iraq's borders were originally created by British colonial authorities in the 20th century, with absolutely no regard for the cultural divides of the region. Saddam Hussein was able to keep Iraq together through oppression and brute force. But now, the country is quickly falling apart at the seams. Three groups dominate Iraq: the Kurds in the north, the Sunnis in the west, and the Shiites in the south. In order for Iraq to once again be unified, the Kurds will have to surrender their newfound control of Iraq's north, the Islamic State will have to be defeated, and the Sunnis, Kurds, and Shiites will have to agree to live under one nation again. However, it's more likely that these groups will choose to be separate, each under their own flags. Number 5. Libya. Similar to Iraq, Libya is also an artificial creation of a colonial era. Libya was an Italian colony until 1951, and the country was later held together by Colonel Gaddafi until his defeat in the Libyan Civil War of 2011. Now after Gaddafi's fall, the country is fracturing. Before the Italian occupation, Libya did not exist, and the area was divided into 3 regions: Tripolitania, Cyrenaica, and Fezzan. The people of these regions are more loyal to their tribal roots than any artificial notions of statehood. The Second Libyan Civil War is currently ongoing, but it is likely a unified Libya will not survive the conflict. Number 4. The Islamic State. The Islamic State saw a rapid rise to power in early 2014, seizing a third of Iraq and Syria in a stunning military takeover. However, since then, the Islamic State has been embroiled in conflict against an increasingly growing list of enemies. In order for the Islamic State to survive, it must either defeat or make peace with Iraq, Kurdistan, the Syrian government, the Free Syrian Army, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and the US-led coalition currently engaged in combat against the Islamic State. Until then, the Islamic State's survival will be under constant threat. Number 3. The United Kingdom. Scotland may have failed to gain independence in their 2014 referendum, but the Scots won't give up their quest for independence so easily. Also, there's a simmering movement in Wales and Northern Ireland that seeks autonomy and possibly independence for these regions. If any of these regions were to gain autonomy from the United Kingdom, it's possible that the Union may fall apart. Number 2. The United States of America. Many of the divisions that caused the Civil War in the United States still exist to this day. If these deep-rooted political and cultural differences within the United States aren't rectified, it's possible some states could break free within the next 20 years. As recently as 2012, 50 states submitted petitions with hundreds of thousands of signatures asking to secede from the Union. The two most likely states to leave the Union are Alaska and Texas. Number 1. Maldives. Located between India and Africa, the island nation of Maldives is in extreme danger of sinking due to rising sea levels. The former president of Maldives looked into buying land in South Asia to transplant all the residents of the Maldives before the islands are submerged. Want to know how to keep your country from collapsing? Just subscribe and help keep our channel afloat by liking this video if you haven't already. And if you want to hear my voice some more, go check out my channel in the description, and we will see you all next time.